also have you on the front of that again too. So just right at this point.
All right.
I know we can't reach you there. So that's fine. And you obviously can't hear the music either. What's up, everybody? Super Bowl 58 is over. Patrick Mahomes is a third Super Bowl champion, a third Super Bowl MVP. You can't make this shit up. We have to start today with something even more crazy than the Super Bowl win for the Kansas City Chiefs. It's this man winning on Nick Taylor at plus 17,000 in the Waste Management Open. I bet you none of you guys cared about that tournament because you were so focused on the Super Bowl. Welcome into the All Day Everyday Show with All Day AJ and Manny Ruffin. Huge Sunday. Congratulations to you, sir. Thank you for coming in to close out this final NFL show. You've been with us for almost practically the entire season, so huge appreciation for you. Like we say every time. But dude, congratulations. This is fucking insane.
Had to be sick,
You're on a heater. You almost won $400,000. Now the 17,000 Nick Taylor win. Just give me the thoughts. How are we feeling?
Little hungover.
Yeah, for sure.
Definitely a little hungover. Yeah, I didn't really mind missing most of the first half of the Super Bowl because it was pretty damn boring, I think.
Well, I saw a lot of the tweets were your tweet. I think it was when Roger Goodell was talking to Taylor Swift in the booth, and you're like, "Hey, you ever heard of Nick Taylor?"
I mean, dude, it was as electric as it could have possibly been. I mean, look, the last time I was here, we talked about sort of plans post NFL. I mentioned we're going to be getting heavy into golf, and just one of the things I said was I still think the best sports betting experience in terms of just the adrenaline rush and the entertainment factor. I've always said I think it's having a golf long shot in the mix on a Sunday, and I guess to be able to kind of manifest that into
I was just gonna say you literally spoke it into existence. You said the best part about golf betting, if it's not a 2-touchdown guy, I don't want the 2-touchdown guy. If my guy's in the mix on Sunday, give me that. And you got everything you asked for, and
down
came
3
back,
with 4 to
I was
go.
just gonna say,
dude, it was gonna be sweaty anyway because it's a 170 to 1 long shot, and then it was so unnecessarily sweaty down the stretch. I mean, it was just downright insane. I mean, want to just get into the round? I mean,
yeah, let's go from we can talk about the round. Let's go just for obviously us, but for everybody watching, take us through the thought process of how you even get to finding a plus 17,000, and even just on top of that, finding a winner to win an event. I think that's the hardest thing as well, even if it's a plus 2,000. But let alone this was plus 17,000 and you found the winner. I think that's one of the hardest things if you're going to bet on golf is to actually pick a guy before the tournament starts. Everybody can bet on Sunday. Oh, this guy's, maybe he's plus 340. How do you find that guy at the beginning of the week to pick as your winner?
So up until I guess now including this week, it's been nothing but long shots for the golf winners so far this year. Chris Kirk was 200 to 1. Grayson Murray was 350 to 1. Wyndham Clark was 100 to 1 last week. So it's been long shot season. And to be honest, I thought if any tournament was going to break that trend, I thought it was going to be this tournament. I was really nervous about Scotty. I think Scotty pre-tournament, especially after Xander withdrew, he was plus 400. And I'm never going to bet that, but I didn't necessarily think it was a bad number. I mean, he was going for the three-peat. Yeah. He looked really, really dialed in the last round that he played at Pebble. He actually putted well at Pebble. So I just look, if it's been long shot season, you got to put a couple of darts out there. And on Nick Taylor specifically, I got to give credit to my man Pieces. I think I talked about him in my tweet. Moody Gang has just been going nuts. Nick Taylor was his suggestion. And what's been fun is with the success we've had with golf. I mean, obviously, the Nick Taylor win was pretty sick, but we've been doing pretty well the last couple of weeks on just round scores and other just sort of simpler props, if you will. So our golf chat has been insane. Just been going crazy the last few weeks. And there's a couple of really sharp dudes in there. And this one guy, Pieces, I don't think he's ever sent a message in any other chat in Moody Gang. He doesn't talk in the main chat. He's just, he lives in golf. And on Tuesday, he just sent a bunch of stats on Nick Taylor and said, hey, I think we got to add him to the card. So I looked into it a little more. I liked what I saw, and he was the third guy at it. I fired 3 outrights. It was Kevin Yu, who had an okay first round, and then we cashed him out. I think we got 90% of our money back. I was just look, I think he's dead. Let's just take our money back there. I did fire Grayson Murray. He was dead on arrival. And then my third was Nick Taylor. So Pieces put the idea in my head for sure. And, as I looked into it further, it was a really good spot. He took second here last year. I think the weird part was, going into the final round last year, he was in first and Scotty was in second, and it kind of lined up the same way.
Same way. Yeah.
Same way coming into this one. In good form. The guy's won tournaments before. You know, he won the Canadian Open. He's Canadian. He won the Canadian Open in like a dramatic playoff last year. So like the guy knows how to win tournaments. And then when you look at like just sort of like the form that he's been in, he didn't play all that great at Pebble. His first 2 rounds of Pebble were pretty bad, but then he had a great third round. Like his ball striking numbers were really good. I think if you look at Pebble, I think he finished like T72 or whatever. But just the underlying data said he had a really good third round. It looked like he was just kind of finding something. So, you know, with coming off of that round, going into a course that, again, he's had success with, took second last year, and he lives in Scottsdale. So he's Canadian, but he's lived in Scottsdale the last 12 years. This is his, for better or worse, it's like his home track. So it felt like a disrespectful number. Like, I don't think he should have been lower than like 100, but I think when Pieces called him out, I think he was 200. So he just said, look, at 200, this just feels insane. So,
where do you like find talking about like, you know, the outrights? How do you decipher which one to take when you get all this information? Take this guy, take that guy, take this guy, take that guy. Where do you find like the ability to decipher which ones to take because you're seeing so many?
Yeah, it's just I think it's a combination of a lot of things. You know, you can look at, yeah, there's an infinite amount of data out there that'll tell you just sort of the form guys are in, and then from there it's a little bit of gut. I mean, like it's really hard to win golf tournaments. There's a lot of great golfers out there that have just never won. They've played well, they've been in the hunt, but yeah, when push comes to shove, like you're gripping that putter just a little tighter on Sunday. And I just prioritize guys that have won before and, you know, haven't really been worried about the moment. And Nick Taylor needed that kind of attitude yesterday because if you've been tracking him like as aggressively as I have, really just for the last 3 rounds, like it's downright insane that he won this tournament. I mean, there was 4 or 5 different moments where like I feel like most other golfers would have just fell apart. You know, there with the weather delays this week. I mean, he played like his rounds were just sort of like jumbled, if you will. I mean, it was just there was a lot of stop and start. So coming into yesterday, you know, he had like half of his third round left, and they were going to go right into round 4. And I didn't love that when they called it for darkness, you know, midway through the third round, he had like a 6-footer left for par. And when that happens and they blow the horn, you have the option to finish the hole that you're on, or you can just, you know, mark your ball and pick back up. And I wanted him to just putt it out right there, like starting the day with
make a grimy 6-footer.
Yeah, just a grimy little 6-foot tester for par. I'm like, do you really want to start your day with that? But again, I'm not out there hitting the ball, so I trust him. So I think that was on like the par 3 7th. That was his starting his third round yesterday, and he missed it. He bogeyed that, parred the next hole, and then I think his only 3-putt of the entire tournament was on number 9, and he bogeyed that. So he's 2 over in his first 3 holes on the restart for round 3, and it's just like you can see this going in a bad direction really quickly. And then on the 10th hole, he came out and he hit a 50-footer for birdie, and then he birdied I think 3 of his last 5 holes, closed in 32, went into the final round tied with Sahith at 15 under, and I think they were both 15 under. I think Hoffman was at 14 after the crazy round 3 he had, and he got Scotty at 13, who just was making everything. So going into the 4th round, I was more worried about Scotty than anybody else. You get into the 4th round, and his first 5 holes were objectively shaky, terrible, like really, really, really shaky. He had to grind out pars on his first 5 holes. Like first hole, you know, shanked his tee shot. He couldn't hit his driver for shit, like on the front 9 yesterday. And then you get to the 3rd hole, which is it's a gettable par 5, and you're looking at that like, all right, like I think when he goes to the 3rd hole, he's still even on the day. I think Scotty at this point was already 4 under through his first 5. So it's like, dude, this has to be a birdie here. He misses his tee shot right, like he kept doing, and it landed in a cactus. Like in a cactus, he had to take an unplayable penalty stroke. He hits like a little stinger out of the rough, lands it in the bunker 125 feet out. So now he's 125 out, yards out. He's 125 out from the bunker, hitting 4, sticks it to 2 feet, makes par. And it's like the fact that we're even par right now is still. Then you get and then I think the next hole misses again. It's like a long par 4. Like you can't miss this fairway, or it's like an auto bogey. And he hit like this really, really low like 5-iron stinger that just ran all the way up to middle of the green, 2-putt. And then I think the first fairway he hit of the round was on number 6.
That's wild.
Stuck his approach to 2 feet, tapping birdie. Went to number 7, long par 3. I think it was the toughest hole in the course yesterday. Just flushed his tee shot, made birdie there. And then I believe he birdied 9.
Yep.
So he started to find it. And then fast forward, you get to the 15th hole. And 15th hole is, again, it's an easy par 5, just another hole that it just has to be a birdie. And he's 3 strokes back. At the time, Hoffman is 21 under. And I think he's still in the course. And just my mindset was like, just Hoffman can't get to 22. I mean, it's already in pretty bad shape. I wish I could have seen what his live odds would have been going into the 15th, because like it had to have been pretty juicy even then. I mean, you're down 3 with 4 to play. And something really interesting happened on the 15th. So it's a par 5, but you can get there in 2 if you hit a good tee shot. And he hits a really good tee shot. It was one of his only good drives of the day. And then he laid up. He laid up to like, I think he left himself like 50 in, and like I think he was only 230, 240 out. Like he could have gotten it there. And you just think in that moment, I don't know if he knew exactly how many strokes he needed, but I just expect him to be a little more aggressive there. And he laid up, and the announcers were shocked by that, right? And it was pretty cool in his post game. It was one of the first questions he got asked was laying up on 15, and he's like, yeah, it wasn't even a discussion. Like he's like, our rule of thumb the last couple of years is if we got to hit a 4-iron into a green, we don't do it. He's like, I've been flushing my wedges. I knew that I had to make birdie, and I thought that laying up and sticking a wedge in there was probably my best bet. So he does exactly that. Birdie's 15, goes to the par 3 16th, just absolutely flushes. One of the best shots I've seen into 16 all day. Makes birdie there. He's 1 back. And then he gets to 17. And knowing that you got a birdie either 17 or 18, like if you're going to birdie one of them, 17's the easier hole to do it.
100%.
It's a short par 4. It's a great tee shot. Just off the right side of the green. And then I think he stuck his approach to like 15 feet. I think he thought it was going to roll out a little more. But again, another question he got asked about was just like, how aggressive were you going at that? And just where the pin was, if you miss long, it's just going to roll off the back and go into the water. And he's just like, I don't want to lose the tournament right there. He's like, I'd rather give myself a, maybe more of a conservative look. And if not, I still have a shot on 18. So he just missed it. Ball didn't roll in. You get to the 18th, and I mean, the first time playing 18 was just electric. He missed his tee shot right again for like the 1,000th time. He's in the rough. Hits just an absolutely beautiful approach into the 18th green, and he's got like a slippery downhill 9-footer. And the camera angle, like on the broadcast, is pretty weird. You couldn't really see, like it was a little off to the sides. You couldn't really see the track of the ball too well. And again, I've now watched this replay like 15 times. I can't believe that ball snuck in the hole. I mean, it just barely gets in there. And I felt really good going into the playoff. I hedged on Hoffman. I told everyone in Discord, like, hey, we're going into a playoff. If you're not watching, because you're probably watching the Super Bowl, like, here's the situation. We're going into a sudden death playoff hole. If you want to guarantee money, don't cash out. Just hedge Hoffman. It's just like, it's a slightly better use of money.
Smart.
Yeah.
Very smart.
So I did. I told them, look, like with cash out stuff, it's tricky. Like, I feel like it's my job to at least let people know that the options are there.
Right.
But people are like, hey, what should I do? It's like, I mean, dude,
I don't know.
Like, I can't tell you. It's
Do you want to guarantee money, or do you want to sweat out?
Yeah, like everyone's got their own sort of risk profile. Like, all I can do is say, hey, here's what I'm doing. Here are what your options are. It's kind of up to you to make your decision. So I did. If Taylor won, it was going to pay out 18 grand. So I put $2,000 on Charlie just to get something out of it.
Get something back.
If Charlie happened to do it. And then, I mean, the rest is history. They played 18 twice. He birdied it both times. And if you count the 2 playoff holes, he ended up birdieing 5 of his last 6 holes and just made a shitload of putts.
Can you just talk about you cannot make this shit up. Like, you talk about manifesting what you said last week or 2 weeks ago, and it literally happened. Like, you couldn't have wrote the script any better. You go to a playoff to sweat out for a plus 17,000. You cannot make this shit up.
I mean, I'm telling you, man, there's nothing more electric than having a situation like that. And that was that situation times 1,000. Because really, I mean, every single shot, you're
everything.
Everything.
Yeah, every single shot. Like when he stuck his approach on number 6 to 2 feet into the tap in, I'm going nuts. I was at my parents' house before I went to my sister and brother-in-law's house for Super Bowl. Then he followed it up with another birdie on 7, and I'm like, again, and my mom's like, oh, how much is left? I'm like, probably 2 full hours of golf. She goes, oh, like, all right, you're celebrating like like it's about to end. I'm like, well, we needed that one.
Yeah,
You know, like,
it would have ended if I didn't get that one. Yeah.
that's when we need it. But I'm telling you, man, he saved this entire tournament. I guess it would have been, I think it was the 10th hole in round 3. Again, he was coming off 2 bogeys and he drained a 50-footer. And that was a story of his tournament. I mean, the guy just was unconscious with the putter. It's like, if you, as a golfer, that like there's nothing worse than like an 8-footer for par. Like they just feel so much longer. He made every single par save that he needed throughout the weekend. And again, when you end up winning by 1 in a playoff, like, well, you needed every single one of them.
Well, let's talk about, outside of the golf, the tournament itself. What did you think about, the suspensions of the alcohol sales and how crazy, all the fans sliding down, tarps off, sliding in the mud, how crazy the fans were. I think you can put this waste management above most, if not all, in terms of just the craziness from the fans. And like we were talking about before, it seemed like most of those people were just there to get shit-faced instead of actually watch golf.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's definitely a tricky spot for the tour, right? Because it's now become one of the marquee events. They call it the People's Open. It gets a lot of eyeballs. It's a different change of pace of sort of what typical golf is. But there's a balance there somewhere, right? And it's like some of the players love it, but you can tell. I feel like just it was just rowdier, a lot more rowdy this year than in years past, because a lot of players were getting pissed off. I even saw like Benny On, I think, tweeted like just it was.
Yeah, he did tweet.
He tweeted that it was a total shit show. You saw Spieth yelling at people. I saw Billy Horschel yelling at somebody.
Zach Johnson.
Yeah, Zach Johnson. So like, there's got to be a way to keep it fun and keep that atmosphere, but maybe just come down harder, on fans that are overdoing it, like yelling at backsmen and stuff. You can't have that.
That was unreal.
But dude, at the same time though, it's like the tour is leaned into this, right? Yeah. It's like they've leaned into this party atmosphere. They've sort of circled it as like this unique event, and that's what's made it fun. And then I think like the flip side of that is, like a lot of the players love it and they really lean into it. Like Nick Taylor flat out said, he's like, dude, I feel like the louder it got, the more dialed I got. He's like, when I won the Canadian Open, he goes, it was rowdy, it was loud, people were just jacked up because they wanted the local Canadian to finally win this thing. And he's like, the energy there, I think, really gave me a little extra. So you take the good with the bad. I just think like, you can have that atmosphere without fans yelling in backswings, but then how do you rein that in when you're advertising it as the party event, right? It's exactly, you've made your bed. So I'd be pretty shocked to see any major changes coming from this, because I mean, you look at the attendance on Saturday, I'm sure they're looking at that. Like,
they said they stopped counting how many people go in, but they just said it was well over 200,000. Which is just unreal. And like a lot of people, you see the lines out the door at like 5:30 in the morning just to get to 16. Just for me, and we were talking about this before, like I don't know if I were to go there, I don't know if I would want to just go post up at one hole. Don't you want to see the actual golf course that you're not, these are like what you said, the best of the best are playing this course. Like you're going to go post up for one hole all day. I would want to like walk around, not only to see the course, you also have to understand you're not going to see everybody that you want to go see.
Yeah.
Like, I want to walk around, see different players, but also just see what this course looks like. I'm never going to get to
200,000 people there. I didn't fucking think how hard it would be to move around at that point.
Which is also true as well. Like, and first of all, like with all those people there, they still sold almost 750,000 drinks on Saturday. How are these people even getting the drinks for that many people out? Like, are you going to get 4 drinks at a time? Because you're also never going to leave your spot if you're on 16. How the hell are you getting beers?
I know. I had a couple of guys in Mooney Gang were at the event, and I'm gonna do a stream later and just rewatch the Nick Taylor highlights, because I've been telling people like, look, I'm sure a lot of you weren't watching. Now, like anybody that had a big ticket didn't give a fuck about the Super Bowl. They were dialed into this.
Sweating that.
But like, I'm sure people that had some tickets were, if they're at a Super Bowl party, you can't go, hey, can you mind putting the golf on real quick? So I'm like, guys, you have to understand, like, to fully appreciate this win, you have to watch.
You gotta see it.
You got to watch this last round, because it was like nothing I've ever experienced in my entire life. But we have a few guys in Mooney Gang that were there, and I would love to just pick their brain on what the overall,
just the atmosphere,
the in-person experience. Yeah, atmosphere is probably great, but like, hey, how are the bathroom lines? Like,
right.
You're posted up somewhere, you got to go get a drink. How does,
like, is your buddy gonna hold your seat for you while you go get the beers? Like, how do we do this?
So I'm with you. I think if because I haven't had the privilege to get down there yet. I think if I did it, maybe I would try to do 16 once, if I was going to do it, I would do Thursday or Friday and just understand I'm not going to do it on Saturday, and maybe try to do 16 one day and then just, pick a group I want to follow and just do the whole course. I want to
walk with them.
Like when we did the Masters last year, we did the Tuesday practice round.
People say the practice rounds are better to go to.
If I did it again, I would do practice round. I really would. I think it's a combination of one, I want to watch the Masters. Like when it's actually on, I think
the full cinematic experience.
Oh yeah,
I think I'd want to be.
You can't see everything if you're there.
Yeah, I think I'd want to be either on my couch or like at 5 iron. It's worked out like 2 straight years. My wife is at a bachelorette party Masters weekend, which is
for you. It's
awesome.
It's
awesome.
Good scheduling.
Like 2 years ago, I think I went to 5 iron on Sunday by myself and just like rented a simulator and just hit golf balls and drank beers for 5 hours and watched the Masters.
Awesome.
But yeah, if I
Give
went
us a
back,
call next time.
if I went back, and was going to do it again, I would do practice round because you get to, it's not as crowded. You can, you get to, walk and see more of the course, and like that's kind of what you're there to do. Like you're there to just experience
and also for like the golfer's sake, like they're not in tournament mode where they're sweaty. Like most of them are even turning around and talking to the fans too. Yeah. They're wearing shorts. They're not like in full sweat mode.
It's way more relaxed. Everyone's all the golfers are in a great mood. It's like, it's like Christmas Eve kind of deal, right? And they just a lot more fan interaction. So again, if I'm lucky enough to do the Masters again, I would do exactly what I did, which is I would do either a Tuesday or Wednesday practice round, and then head home and actually watch the tournament somewhere.
I think what would also be cool too is like when you go there and you, like you said, you pick a group and you just follow them, like placing a bet on like one of the guys to win the group, and then you just follow them all day, and then you're actually watching your entire bet, every single shot, just hope to cash. Like
we were doing that. When we were there, we were there with DB with Tour Junkies. So for an hour or two, we posted up at 16, and we were just betting $5 a guy on closest to the pin. Like it was sweet, man.
That's so electric.
I'm on Twitter. Like both my parents called me, and then Fireball starts flowing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean we were in full celebration mode. So the second half of this game is a little hazy.
Did anybody that you were with at your party yesterday, did they have any Nick Taylor tickets?
My sister did. Yeah,
that's fucking sick. That's awesome. All right, let's get to the Super Bowl. The Chiefs win again, back-to-back MVPs, back-to-back Super Bowl champs for Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, and company. Hey, I thought Travis Kelce was going to score because Taylor did all this work to get there, and that was not the case. One of my parlays missed on Travis Kelce not scoring. 25-22. The big controversy that people are talking about is the 49ers not like going over overtime strategy at all. And also, like, giving the Chiefs and Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes the ball last to go win the game.
Yeah, they like some of those quotes after the game were like
they had no idea.
Staggering.
Bullshit. I feel like that's got to be.
It was McNabb-esque when he didn't know we could tie. Like they had no idea. They had no idea.
Holy shit.
McNabb-esque.
It is.
I'm confused where. You have some Chiefs players, I forget who said it in their quote. It's like, we review this every single playoff game and twice for the Super Bowl. So how the fuck is Kyle Shanahan, after you lost in overtime against the Patriots, you lost in overtime. Now you're part of the only 2 Super Bowls in history to go to overtime, and you lost them both. Pain. How the hell are we not going to review overtime if you were the one that just lost in overtime years ago to the Patriots?
Yeah, dude, it's insane. And I was curious to see what his explanation was going to be for his post overtime decision. The only thing I thought of was like, hey, we wanted to give our defense a rest or whatever. But then hearing the players be like, yeah, like to tell you the truth, I think Juszczyk was like, yeah, like I didn't know exactly of the rule change because I saw it up on the jumbotron, and that was when I found out. And it's like, dude,
that's disgusting.
It's the Super Bowl. How do you not know? And then you contrast that with Chiefs players that are like, we knew the rules and we've had our strategy in place of how we would attack this from day one. I think they said like if Niners got ball first and scored a touchdown, and then Chiefs get the ball back, they said if they scored, they would have went for 2 and went for the win. Like that was just
the game plan.
That was the plan. That they would live and die off that. But like they had a plan in place because they knew the rules and that was their strategy. And to have the Niners just like very, very honestly be like, yeah, we were kind of figuring it out as we went along there. Like that's insane.
You had Juszczyk even saying too, he's like, I just thought, you just get the ball first and try to go win the game. But again, goes back to the point, did not know the rules at all. And I mean, I was telling Manny too, like there was a lot of the party that I was at, there was a lot of people on the first drive when 49ers are basically just walking down the field. And they're like, you better cash out your Chiefs tickets now. Next fucking play. Best player on the field. Fumble. I'm like, excuse me. Also, what I learned, I need to go back and say, like, I was full on, like I said, generational hater. I do not want to see the Chiefs win again and Patrick Mahomes win again. But, like, you learn. Because what did everybody want to see? I want to see him on the road in the playoffs. I want to see him out of his own nature, out of Arrowhead Stadium. I want to see him on the road. Well, you got to play the best of the best. You beat Josh Allen in Buffalo. Then you beat the MVP in Lamar Jackson at Baltimore to go in the AFC Championship to go to the Super Bowl. How can you bet against them?
You can't.
And then they open up as underdogs. Did that feel a little bit like a trap? Like, especially it being Vegas. I saw Scott Van Pelt talking about this too. He's like, well, let's just remember, like, the game is in Vegas. You have to assume that there's a line out the door that's like a mile long to take the Chiefs. And in the Super Bowl, in this rarity, it should not be this easy. It should not be this simple to just hammer the Chiefs. And the only way that he was saying it could be is like, he was like, by the end of the week, I'll maybe say San Francisco, just because we're in Vegas and everyone's out the door with a mile-long line of saying Chiefs, Chiefs, Chiefs. And then if the Niners were end up winning, then the Super Bowl where Vegas being where the Super Bowl is, Vegas just cashes everybody out. Like, that's weird.
I think I even saw, I forget what sportsbook it was, but they said like the I don't know if it was one particular book or if it was just across all books, but like the 10 largest wagers across the industry were all on San Fran.
Yeah.
Like, the heavy money was coming in on San Fran. And dude, I think it's just a matter of like, just like for the now third game in a row, people just like big braining themselves. Like, oh, the Chiefs are dogs. Yeah, but Baltimore's got the best defense in the NFL, and in Baltimore and Lamar Jackson, and just like, hey, dude, you see a plus sign next to Mahomes' name, just bet it. Like, I didn't do it. Like, I didn't bet on the Niners, but like, I didn't really have I don't have really all that much conviction on either side. So for the most part, I stayed away. Like, I think we talked about it when I was on the show last time. Like, as mostly a prop better, like this time of year, it's tougher. Like my volume is way down. I think I had like 3 plays like really throughout the entire game. And I'll say this, like, thank God Nick Taylor won, because I was in such a euphoric state. It took the sting out of my Super Bowl L. I had the grossest loss ever last night that I didn't even know was even close until the final drive.
So, like, who was in that lay? I know you said
it was Justin Watson, 25 yards, Juwan Jennings, 25 yards, Juszczyk, 1 reception, Purdy rush yards, McCaffrey touchdown. So again, I'm not really tracking it like at all first half. And then I think going into the Niners' final drive, I'm like, I put Mooney Gang. I'm like, hey guys, I haven't really been following. We just need Juwan Jennings here, right? And then first play of the drive was like a 15-yarder to Juwan Jennings. So like at that point, we're in the green. It was a 30-1 SGP. But I saw the writing on the wall. Like, Purdy was 12.5 rushing yards, and I'm looking at the clock. I'm kind of doing the math. I'm like, oh, dude, if they get the ball back with like a couple seconds left, they're going to knee it out, and then it's going to go to OT. And like, that's exactly what happened.
Disgusting.
Chiefs kick a field goal with like 5 seconds left, and then you're at the point where you're like, oh, maybe they'll squib kick it or something, right? The clock will run out. No, they kick it through the end zone, and then I literally think there was 2 seconds on the clock. Purdy took a knee, and it went to overtime. So it's like, all right, now we need to get that back in OT. It didn't happen. So we end up losing that SGP.
that is got to be one of the grossest beats ever.
Yeah, it was
losing on a kneel.
Yeah, we lost on a kneel. It was pretty gross. It's funny. Yeah, I think some people, I bet it on FanDuel. Some people bet it on DraftKings because of like promos or like free bets or whatever. And his number on DraftKings was 11.5. So
it would have hit on there.
So it hit on there. So you have like, you have half the people that are like ripping their hair out over this gross L, and the other half are like, hey, like, I still won. And it's like,
the beef between the Mooney Gang.
Yeah, people were like, hey, dude, don't you dare show me those winning tickets.
Yeah,
right?
don't rub it in.
But like I said, like I was floating still, right? So like it didn't even faze me.
Right.
And then as I'm kind of going back this morning, I'm rewatching the highlights just because I feel like I remembered like nothing from this game. Not even from being like blacked out. Like I got
floating off the fire.
Got a little buzz going on, but I also was just like just mentally just kind of like
why do I give it like like most of your tweets were like, why do I give a shit about this game? I just hit this, and I was more focused on the golf anyway.
Yeah. But that one hurt. That one hurt. That would have been a pretty ridiculous nightcap after after the Nick Taylor cash. So
at least for we're just talking about Brock Purdy. At least for Brock Purdy's sake, doesn't turn a ball over.
Yeah,
comes into this big game here. I think he played very well. He was dialed. do you, and there was questions circling around Brock Purdy for if the Niners won, and it was like, if the Niners won, do you put him in top 10? Well, do you put him in top 10 with the game that he played, even though lost? And top 10 meaning top 10 quarterbacks in the league. Do we go that far yet?
It's close. If he's not top 10, he's right there. I would say he's probably top 10. I mean, he's like, I think I'd have a hard time finding 10 quarterbacks that I like know for sure I would take over him right now. It's like, I think he's pretty damn close to like to Dak. You know, I think that's maybe if Purdy or Dak, I'd probably take Purdy.
Especially without, I think without without the turnover factor.
Yeah, for sure. Again, like it's weird too. Like the Niners didn't play bad. I mean, like you had the uncharacteristic McCaffrey fumble, but otherwise, like for the most part, the Niners played a good game. I don't look at you don't really look at this like the Niners lost this game. I mean, they just ran into the Patrick Mahomes inevitable buzzsaw, and it's going to happen a lot. I mean, he's going to steal rings from a lot of people. And
you're right. I slightly disagree, though. Watching this game, the 49ers were fucking dominating. Like, they could not stop Christian McCaffrey to start the game, and they had the Chiefs' offense figured out. Huge, like, the turning point of the game. The 49ers are up 10-0. Pat Mahomes has a 2-minute drill. They stop him from getting 7. Hold Pat Mahomes to 3 in a 2-minute, which is hard enough to do.
Yep.
Big enough to do because the Chiefs get the ball out of half. Then they force a pick on Pat Mahomes. Have the ball on their plus 40. From that point on, Kyle Shanahan goes 9 passes to 2 runs. Christian McCaffrey was already busting 5-6 yards a pop at that point in the game. He was already being stubborn with the run game. Why, when you're up 7, just got a turnover to put you in the plus of the turnover battle because you had a Moses Moody block kick, which was bullshit. And then later on in the game, obviously, the punt situation, which was also bullshit. I feel bad for the special team coach because he can't control none of that shit. Why are you 9-2 pass to rush after McCaffrey is dominating the whole game? People were like, oh, well, McCaffrey got 22 carries. He got 6 of those carries in OT. You can look at it. This motherfucker ended regulation of the Super Bowl with 16, 17 carries. Are we dead ass Shanahan? And like, I thought I was part of the train coming up. I thought Kyle Shanahan was a great coach, calls great plays. This is 2 10-point leads with the 49ers that he's blown because not having a real run game. The first one they lost because, I mean, they didn't have the best running backs in the world, so you get CMC for a situation like this. And just going away from him like that, I don't care what the numbers say. You can only look at the play-by-play from where the interception happened. He went 9 passes to 2 rushes. There was 2 drives where he went pass, 3 and out. What are we doing? And then by the time you do that and let Pat Mahomes get back in the game and you can feel the momentum leave you, you got to go past now. Like, you can't, like, Chris Jones has his energy back. Karlaftis has his energy back. Nick Bolton's chasing McCaffrey around. The game's fully changed. They had their chance to put the stamp on the game. And I kind of think, like, obviously there's different plays that went on and the Chiefs made great plays. But I think when they had a chance to win it, Kyle Shanahan kind of threw it away a little bit.
Again.
But what was, like, the game plan? Like, game plan being, make sure that Mahomes doesn't have the ball for the majority of the game. How do we do that? We possess the ball. How do we possess the ball for a long period of time? You hand the ball off to CMC, the best running back in football, and arguably, and who just won the Offensive Player of the Year. Why do we not hand the ball off to keep the ball out of Mahomes' hands? Let's also talk about another key fucking moment in this game.
Life too.
Which, Manny, you brought it up before we started the show. This is not going to get a lot of light shined on it because they won. What are your thoughts on the Travis Kelce bitch fit that he had? Like, putting his hands on Andy Reid. What are we? And he told me that AJ Brown tweeted and was like, if that was me, I would have loved to see the coverage if I got my hands on Nick Sirianni.
AJ Brown points to the iPad, talks to Jalen Hurts. It's a story. Like, it's actually just funny.
I mean,
that's bullshit. Why you put your hands on him?
It's funny.
It worked.
100% it worked because he did have 1 catch before that.
He had 1 catch in the first half, and then he had 8 for 90 in the second half. And they both, obviously, I'm sure the winning solves everything, so like they weren't going to go into that, but they both brushed it off like it was nothing after the fact. But yeah, I saw the AJ Brown tweet, and I'm like, yeah, he's got a point.
He said it too. He was like, before we started, he's like, imagine if that was Odell too, with his fiascos that he's had on the sidelines as being a New York Giant. Like, he would have got his ass kicked too. So,
yeah, but Odell and Kelce, they're different. They're
for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
Like, totally different.
Yeah, Odell is not the superstar Super Bowl winner that he's got a ring. What I'm talking about, but like he's.
I know what you mean though. History's a lot
different. But yeah, I mean it was a terrible look. And again, I think it would have been like 10 times the story that it's going to be if the Chiefs lost. I mean, that would have been
Oh, yeah.
that would have been talked about a whole lot. But like, it is weird when you look at it and you go, well, he did have a monster second half after this. So like, I don't know. It was definitely weird though.
They had them boys frustrated. You could tell, man. And I think another thing that a lot of people aren't talking about, which I mean, we were talking about in the moment, but dude, the Dre Greenlaw injury was number one unlucky. The time that it happened was it couldn't have been a worse time because momentum of the game was changing.
Yeah, that sucks.
And as much as Oren Burks came in and played a great game, 48, you actually literally couldn't really tell the difference watching on the TV. But you know Dre Greenlaw is the energy bug of that team. Like losing that in the Super Bowl is just dejected.
In that fashion, it's
it's
bad.
unbelievable.
You could see something like pop.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
something popped in there. And it just,
I think he tore his Achilles.
Yeah.
it looked like it, because even in Aaron Rodgers, you could see in that video,
He's
like
the-
up his calf, you see something pop.
Yeah, it's like the clearest one is I think when Durant did it, right? Because it's like, you know, like he's wearing shorts, so you get the view of the calf. I mean, when Durant did it, you see his calf muscle just like starts spazzing out. And then they brought out the world's smallest cart.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that was and he has to sit up front.
Yeah,
He can't
he's-
even lay on
yeah,
the back.
what?
Yeah, they got him riding shotgun with like his, you know, sitting Indian style.
Yeah,
It's
and,
like,
and,
what
and
the
he's
fuck,
like, he's
man?
like clenched up. He's got all his equipment's on. Like he's not gonna fit in there. Yeah, that was just a terrible look. And at least like for the Niners' sake, like it goes back to the point that you were trying to make of, you know, they dominated this game.
They did.
And we talk about the mistakes. You talk about the blocked extra point there because again, let's just if so facto that extra point's made, then Moody's kicking that 53-yarder with a minute 53 left to now go up 4 instead of go 3. But again, this just goes back to Patrick Mahomes with little to no time left. I know it's 2 minutes, but 2-minute drill. You give Patrick Mahomes a 2-minute drill, 1:53 on the clock to just get a fucking field goal. That's all he has to do to force overtime.
Asking a lot of your defense.
It's unbelievable.
That's four Super Bowl. So he's been a starter for 6 years. 4 Super Bowl appearances in 6 years with 3 rings. I mean,
Dude.
look, you know, your eyes already tell you what you're seeing. Like this guy is just beyond special. But 3 rings in 6 years, man, is
So we were talking about this too, right before you got here. And he's 28 years old. Like, maybe he plays 10 years, so he's 38 years old. Do you think he's getting 4 more
yes.
to tie Brady, or maybe 5 more to beat him?
And didn't you look at like
That's a lot.
quarterbacks are playing longer. Like, you know, with, you know, the rules that protect the quarterbacks get like more and more egregious every year. So quarterbacks are taking less hits, and he's just such a freak of nature. I mean, like, it's not unheard of to think that like he can't play until he's like 45 years old. I mean, like, this dude could be around for a while. And I also think, you know, if he gets a few more and he's like close to the Brady number, you know, maybe he forces it those extra years. Like, you know, we're talking out of our asses here because the guy's only 28, but like, I wish there was, I'm sure maybe you'll see it eventually, like some sort of future market you could bet, like, you know, Mahomes over under Super Bowls, because this dude's gonna be winning championships for a long time.
That's what I was saying. I was like, I wish a book had that line where it's like over under 3.5 before he retires. Of can we get 4 in time? Like, just look at that stat muse. Playoff stats before turning 30. Mahomes has 21 more touchdowns than Brady before turning 30 in the playoffs. That's fucking incredible.
I think he has a chance to get to 7. I say the most insane thing from him is this back to back with the teams he's had, because the teams he's inherited was something else. I think he did a great job 2-minute drill, an unbelievable job fourth quarter in OT, unbelievable all-time job. I think this defense has to be a lot more of their story. Like,
Yep.
Second half shutdown, they lost the game on the pick. The pick happened. Everyone I was with at the party was like, "Damn, that feels like game. That feels like game." It's like, yeah, and like you have a super young secondary core, super young linebackers that are catalyzing this defense. Last year in the Super Bowl, got 35 points put up on them. Obviously learned from that process, came back this year, and they were literally the catalyst to the whole playoff run. McDuffie made like 3-4 plays throughout the game that were unbelievable. Had a bullshit hold call on him late in the game, still came back and made more plays. Karlaftis had a big play. I forget who forced a fumble on CMC in the first half. I think it was a rotational guy that forced a fumble on the first quarter play, which was the biggest play of the fucking game. So as much as it takes a family to really build some shit like this, and as much as Pat Mahomes makes the plays down the stretch of the games to win it, dude, this defense, I hope they get their flowers throughout the offseason next couple of days, because it's been unbelievable.
Real quick, so I wasn't when this particular play happened, I was still very dialed into the Goff, so
sure.
I didn't get to hear what sort of the commentary was on it. somebody fill me in on the Snead slap. Like
Yeah.
I saw the replay. I didn't really hear too much. I thought he was going to get tossed immediately. Did they look at it for a while? What were they saying in the booth? I don't know if they had Steratore for the game. Like, what was the initial reaction to that? Because I saw the replay and thought, oh, well, Snead's gone.
I'm not gonna lie, I kind of checked out too, but it's funny because I didn't even think about that. Like I don't even know if they've spent much time on that. I don't remember. I just remember they threw the flag and it was like, damn, Snead, what the fuck are you doing?
Right.
Saw the replay and they
full on
slapped them. Nah,
slapped
and it was
him,
off
yeah.
a push too. Yeah, I don't even know. I don't remember.
Yeah, like again, that could have been game changer if Snead gets tossed there. You know,
100%.
Right, but I also just want to give some credit to like Spags and the defense all year.
Dude.
Fourth as a coordinator, most in history. Like,
Dog.
good for fucking you.
Dog, you bring up Spaz. 1 minute and 50 seconds left in the fourth quarter, 3rd and 4. The game is on the line right here.
Yep.
For some reason, in the second half of these games, Brock Purdy's be able to move the pocket unbelievable. So it's like when you pressure this guy and leave everybody in the back, and man, he's been killing you. It happened to both teams in the divisional and the conference championship game. Spags has balls. He sends his best cover guy, Trent McDuffie, on a 3rd and 4 with 1:50 left. He gets home, gets a tap out. That leads to the Pat Mahomes getting the ball back with 1 minute left to get a field goal. Spags' resume speaks for itself, but you see it in these moments. I even think, especially versus Josh Allen, he did an amazing job. And he still almost lost that game. But couple ballsy blitz calls out of Spags, which he'll get some. I like that Andy Reid has his homies too, because he's going to bring Spags wherever he goes, and Spags really delivers, man. As much as this game, like, it did start off slow, but the ending and how it built up, the plays, how it built up, to me, it was unbelievable. It was all we wanted. You get an OT in the Super Bowl. Like, are you fucking kidding me? I just feel bad for 49ers fans. How much I feel like in my lifetime, I just know 49ers fans' pain. Like, I just think about this Super Bowl. I think about they lost to the Rams last year. There's a picture of Deebo Samuel crying. Remember when they were up versus Seahawks in the NFC Championship with Cap? They lost that game. They lost the Super Bowl when the power went out.
Yep.
Like, dog, all they know is pain, bro. It's actually crazy.
And same for Kyle Shanahan. But I would say, like, I mean, I had my money on the Chiefs, but again, this just being Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, and company, I never had a doubt.
Never a doubt.
Like, even when after the pick, even when you
Never a
thought,
doubt.
you know, when you were talking
Even when
about
they
it
went on
being game,
17-3, I was like, there's 2 touchdowns to Pat Mahomes. What is that?
I just never had a doubt that he was going to
Never.
lose this game.
and again, I agree with you, man. I mean, you got to give the defense their flowers. Like they showed up in just such a massive way, especially these last few games. But you look at the offense and you just think, all right, well, at worst, they'll be this good next year, and they're probably going to be a lot better if they go get some real
So what do you,
receivers.
and what do you do if definitely got to
'cause they
draft some
have-
receivers. What do you do if you're Andy Reid? Obviously, we saw like the rumors that maybe this will be it, and if he wins,
No shot. No
do
shot.
do you know how, like, people don't realize how rare shit like this is? And I think there was a couple coaches, I heard someone talking about it. I just don't know the exact. I think it was like Lombardi, and maybe it was like Jimmy Johnson. A couple coaches that left the dynasty a little early,
Yeah.
like 1, 2, 3 Super Bowls, left the dynasty, and as soon as they left, they were like, I handed the keys to this motherfucker with this Ferrari. Like, Andy Reid has something special. I know he's old, but it's like you could literally almost not on autopilot. You can see it's a hard job, but you have Pat Mahomes, man.
And dude,
You can figure it out.
If you're, I imagine too, man. If you're like a stud receiver, maybe like a little late in your career, you've got like a year or two of your prime left. Like, I bet you like every wide receiver is calling their agent and saying, "Get me to Kansas."
They're a destination.
Oh, yeah.
now.
You know what I mean? They're like, if they weren't, I'm sure they were already a destination. But again, there's just so much room for this
And there's
offense to
pieces to
get
build
better.
around. Like, Pacheco's young. Rasheed Rice is gonna be a true number 2 in the league.
Yeah.
And honest to God, man, like Pat, we already said Pat Mahomes can play 10 more years, but he has like it sounds insane, but we might not have seen the best out of him. We might have seen the most talented Pat Mahomes, but I'm talking about that 32, 33 cerebral. I can't move around as much. I might have more weapons on the outside now. Like, 7's not out of reach, man. And I saw First Take was doing like, who's closer to GOAT debate, Pat Mahomes and Tom Brady and LeBron and MJ. It's like, why do we have to bring all these guys into this? We're seeing something that is so rare, that we're so lucky to be able to watch, witness live. Like, I got to see Brady's last 3 real vivid, the whole AFC championships and divisionals and stuff like that. The first 3 not as much, like the Brady Peyton rivalry and stuff like that. We're watching Josh Allen, Pat Mahomes in real time. Joe Burrow's been hurt. We're watching those battles in real time. Herbert, Lamar, CJ, they all have a say. There's still great things coming out the NFC. And the fact that this guy is going 6 years and only losing to Tom Brady for real, besides one time to Joe Burrow, just I did try to land the defense, but we had to show like just make sure we're giving this guy's flowers enough too, and not trying to do the whole comparison game because it gets fucking crazy, bro. We're seeing something insane and just soak it in and accept it for what it is, man.
Let's go back to what we were talking about on our show like 2 weeks ago before the game. We started talking about touchdown scores. Do you remember when we said MVS was probably had a shot to score in the game?
Yes.
And he fucking did. I also saw, speaking of McCall Hardman getting the game-winning touchdown, I saw Mahomes talking to the CBS crew, and he's like, when he scored, I run up to him. He doesn't even know that we just won the game. I'm like, you just won the fucking Super Bowl, bro. Like, how do you not realize that? You just caught the game-winning pass in the Super Bowl.
I think he said that he just like he completely blacked out. He caught it, scored, and then he went into shock. And like, what a story that is, right? I mean, that's that alone. That's storyline number 10, in all this here. But like bringing him back from the Jets, and then him almost like single-handedly losing the game, ending their season, against Buffalo, and for him to catch the winning touchdown in the Super Bowl. I mean, you can't make this shit up.
Dude, Andy Reid and Pat have elite trust. Even before half when they got held to 3. Pat Mahomes threw one of the best balls I've seen in the Super Bowl. Going to his left, opposite hash in the boundary. Mecole Hardman's running a 7, literally on the opposite hash. Throws a dart in between the safety and the corner. And it's like they threw a touchdown to MVS after they got a turnover on the punt. Like the first play after. Like when they don't expect it to be MVS. Like this elite trust they have in these players who have literally almost cost their season. Like I just shed more light on Andy Reid and Pat Mahomes. Like the elite trust they have in these marginal guys is crazy. There's teams that have people that are actually guaranteed number 1s, number 2s that don't have the same amount of trust they have in Mecole Hardman and MVS, and it's just insane to see.
As we go to like too early predictions for next year, like just too early, we saw back-to-back years 49ers were, best of the best in the NFC, obviously excluding the Eagles. Last year and going to the NFC Championship losing. This year going back, winning, getting the Super Bowl losing. Do you still put them in that category of potentially getting back to another NFC Championship game next year? Like, are they also in their dynasty-esque?
You're talking about 49ers?
49ers. Are they in their dynasty-esque of the NFC?
If they can, if they have CMC, anything goes, and then they can retain that defense. I mean, if the 49ers win this game, the story is about the D-line. Bosa, Chase Young, Javon Hargrave, and Armstead had an insane game. Like, literally changed the whole game. I think if they can retain this defense a good bit, they'll be around. And Brock takes care of the ball, man. I disagree with y'all about the top 10 thing, but I think he's good enough. I think he's definitely a top quarterback in the league. I think you can win with Brock Purdy. I think those arguments have to stop. I think it's insane to have. And I think as long as they have CMC, Brock at the helm, Kyle Shanahan up top in this defense, they'll have a shot every single year.
Just the only problem is the top of the NFC is only going to get better.
It's going to get better.
The Eagles will still be good next year.
Green Bay's on the way.
You have Detroit will be back. Yeah. Green Bay is going to be a force to be reckoned with last year. And you don't want to get too dramatic and be like, this was their shot, but
it was closest thing. I mean,
this is as good of a shot that they're going to get. I mean, again, the rest of the conference is only going to get better.
You can still say too, even though they consistently prove that they can't win in the playoffs, Dallas still finds a way to win football games in the regular season and at least give them a chance to go win a playoff.
Even the you look at the second half of the Rams, like the Rams are going to Rams will be back, right?
That was your ticket too.
Yeah, that was I know. So, dude, it's really tough to get to the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
it's really, really, really tough, and I think that's why the 3 Super Bowl rings is they speak for themselves. But I mean, 4 appearances in 6 years. I mean, this is like you look at the run LeBron had.
Touching LeBron territory.
Yeah, you're in LeBron territory of just finals appearances. And the difference is Mahomes is won 3 of the 4 of them. But I always thought drifting here just a little bit, but the MJ LeBron debate has been debated into the ground now for 20 years, and I've never seen a player get criticized for losing in championship games and not respected for even getting there. It's tough to get there, and LeBron was just an automatic finals appearance.
Yeah. For 11 straight years.
For 11 straight years. And again, it's early here, but what Patrick Mahomes is doing is something that we've only ever seen Brady do, and the sheer just dominance fashion in which he does it, man. Again, he's this guy's going to be doing this for a long time.
Dude, I don't know if it was just you guys, but when Pat Mahomes had the ball at the end of the 4th quarter just to get 3, and when he got the ball back after San Fran scored 3 in OT, I promise you, I have Chiefs. I'm watching this shit with a smile. I'm like, yo, I'm about to watch history. Like,
Yep.
I know he's about to do it.
Patty
Like,
Mahomes, 2
he's
minute
already hit that territory. One question I have about this game and a couple of the playoff games. What the fuck is up with the lack of George Kittle? I feel like he'd be the number one security blanket for Brock Purdy. Perfect example of someone who could get him going to these games. 2 catches on 3 targets.
So many people said in Media Week, at Radio Row and all that kind of stuff, all talking about everyone's going to say that it's going to be McCaffrey that's going to run this game for time of possession. And they're all like, if you're not going to do that, look out for George Kittle and like you said, that safety security blanket that he will be for Brock Purdy. Non-existent. I mean, I know he's one of the
not
better.
Even on the play sheet for real if you look at it,
but
bro.
he's one of the better blockers, and he was used a lot. But we didn't really use him on that offensive side of the ball as much as we just did to block like CMC in that, and that's
elite
where
route runner, elite pass catcher,
I was
elite
definitely
yak
a little
guy.
bit confused too.
Yeah.
And you're like, we were talking about it on our show before, on Thursday, and we're like, I was saying, well, hold on a second. Joe Burrow and Tom Brady are the only 2 quarterbacks to beat this man, Patrick Mahomes, in the playoffs. And we just magically think Brock Purdy's going to make his way onto that list as the number 3, the third guy to do that? No fucking way. No way. And that's why he should have. But that's why I was on that. And it goes back to, 2 early predictions. Watch out for fucking when Joe Burrow was back with the Bengals. Look what Browning was able to do with the Bengals. Watch out for, again, Ravens, Bengals in there, going to try to go take him down. And, again, I'm very excited to see what that division looks like now for Mahomes as AP gets the Raiders job, changing the culture over there, even though they did still finish. I think it was
hardball.
And now you add Jim with the Chargers, Justin. We bring our defensive coordinator from Michigan with us. I don't know if you saw Wink Martindale going to Michigan too, which was crazy just because head coaching jobs were not available, I guess, for you. I'm very excited to see that. I just want to see if there's a team out there in the AFC that can just represent as the AFC team, just so we can see another team in the Super Bowl from the AFC side. It's not that I'm getting sick and tired of seeing it because it's really cool to watch. I just want to see another team in there. Is that like naive or like dumb to say? Like,
I think we need to ask Saquon to go to Houston, team up with CJ Stroud.
Well, he wants Harbaugh wants Saquon in LA with him.
You give CJ Stroud a premier running back. I think that's him and Burrow both, I think, give him the best chance. And we'll see what happens with Jim Harbaugh with Herbert, because I think Herbert's unbelievable. I think he just needs a coach that's not a fucking idiot. So I think CJ Stroud with the good running back and Burrow, them two. I think Burrow not worried about no Pat Mahomes. We see how they act when they go there. So it's good.
Right. Burrowhead, which you fucking
they
hate.
ain't worried about that.
And at least for me, I wanted to ask this question. I know, take a second to kind of think about it. Favorite, as we're closing out the NFL. We're not going to see a football game for months now. Labor Day,
like Jesus Christ.
We always know how if the season just flies and the time flies when football's on. If you can think back, favorite moment of this NFL season, I'll start and I'll say it was the 70 piece that McDaniels, Tua, and Dolphins did to Denver. We just have never seen that. It's been a very long time since we've seen that. There was nothing that was really exciting for me for the Giants. Obviously, if you wanted me to say, wow, Tommy DeVito's crazy, uprising, I think it was the 70 piece that the Dolphins put up was my favorite moment. And also just being able to follow Tyreek and his chase to possibly getting 2,000. Obviously, he got hurt. That would have been crazy. He would have been my MVP if he did that. I got to give my favorite moment is the Dolphins in that 70 piece.
I think for me, it would have been the Eagles comeback win against the Bills.
Dude, that's my number 2.
Well, your GOAT kicker, man.
I thought we were that team at that point. I thought it was solidified.
That was the first moment where I went, oh shit, this team's going to the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
like this is the best team in the NFL. This is at that point it was probably the best. It was probably the game of the year at that point, and to win that game, I'm like, okay.
Did you have that moment too when they beat the Chiefs in Arrowhead, or was it specifically just the Bills moment?
I don't know. For whatever reason, the Bills game just. I think just because it was a bit more of a better comeback, and I feel like it had playoff game atmosphere. And
sure. Yep.
Again, for me, it wasn't like I had any doubts in the Eagles. I mean, they were already on. I think they were well atop the NFC at that time anyway. But that win against the Bills, I went, oh shit, this team has it.
No, yeah.
Record scratch. They didn't have it, but
that's my number 2. The thing about that game too was like Jalen Hurts kind of took that game over.
Yeah.
Like I felt like we actually had it. I would say, to be honest, That divisional matchup between the Chiefs and the Bills, I feel like wrapping up, seeing Josh Allen and Mahomes again, that game, everything it was supposed to be, that game ended up being incredible. Like, besides the DeMar Hamlin fake punt, which is a little asterisk on the game, I think that was probably one of the best football games, just bar for bar, I've seen in a while. Like, the defenses were getting stops, but the offenses weren't really slowing down. That game was fucking insane, and that's when I hope that the NFL Films channel where they upload the full playoff games. I hope they get that one on there because that'll be my watch later. That
and
game
I want to say
sick.
one last thing here too. We were talking about the NFL awards too, and we did our pre Super Bowl show, and we were talking about the Coach of the Year, and we knew it was Stefanski, but we looked at the ballot. There was not a single nomination for Matt LaFleur, and we were going crazy.
Yeah.
Don't you think they had just give him some recognition? That's all I'm asking.
I think both LaFleur and DeMeco Ryans probably deserved it more than Stefanski. And look, it's like I love Stefanski. As actually, I think he's one of my good friends. It's his first cousin. So
that's pretty.
And he's a Philly guy. So love for Stefanski. I understand it. I think they made the playoffs. They had a great year with I think 4 different starting quarterbacks. Chubb goes out week 2 or whatever it was. So they clearly battled the adversity there. I just think that. I think what DeMeco Ryans did in Houston and what LaFleur did in Green Bay, I just, not to take anything away from Stefanski, I just thought that they were, bigger surprises, right? It's I don't think a lot of teams were penciling in Green Bay or Houston as playoff teams this year, whereas the Browns were, supposed to get there. And then even with the injuries, their defense was so goddamn good that, they had the pieces to at least be able to hang on. And I also look at it I don't think you can give Stefanski Coach of the Year and give Flacco Comeback Player of the Year. It's
and also Myles Garrett got Defensive Player of the Year when I thought it should be TJ Watt. Just saying, that's just me.
All right, you've got the Defensive Player of the Year. You had Joe Flacco come in and rewind the clocks and do some pretty amazing stuff. Enough where he gets Comeback Player of the Year. It's all right, well then maybe Coach of the Year could go to somebody else that didn't have the Defensive Player of the Year.
Well, also too with DeMeco Ryans' sake. For him to come in with a rookie quarterback where they were last year, completely flip, that's got to be enough information in itself just to give DeMeco. And it's just a toss-up too. But like I said too, I thought TJ should have gotten it over Myles Garrett. That's obviously a different debate for another day.
And even with I know it's a regular season award,
right?
But I don't know that it necessarily should be, because if it's not a regular season award, then I think LaFleur wins. They beat Dallas as major dogs, and then they should have beat San Fran. I mean, you've got San Fran going into the Super Bowl were favorited, and Green Bay had the favorites to win the Super Bowl with their backs against the wall, with far and away
in their own building
with far and away the youngest team in the NFL. And I if I'm not wrong, I think the only team without a Pro Bowler, which is
you're right,
which is wild. So that alone, I mean, I don't know how you can look at that Packers team, see what they accomplished, and not go, yeah, LaFleur probably should be Coach of the Year.
Would you have then said that if it was, would the Lions have ended up beating the Packers? Lions would have had the home game, NFC Championship. They would have got the home game.
I don't know, man. It's hard to
it's hard to look back and say that, but
that game would have been nasty.
I would have been happy with either of those teams representing the NFC based on their seasons.
For sure. I still think either one of them would have gotten steamrolled by this Chiefs team anyway. But again, it's if you're in the NFC, I mean, your path to the Super Bowl is only going to get tougher each year as teams like the Packers get better, as teams like the Rams get better. Detroit's going to be right back where they were. I mean, it's just
And who knows, if the Bears do something stupid and send Justin Fields to Atlanta, that team becomes legit.
I mean, we're definitely going to want to bring you back for a draft show and all that. But again, I guess
Atlanta
too early
gets a
stuff.
QB.
Do you think that Caleb Williams that they're really going to draft a quarterback and just say fuck off to Justin Fields? Why would you waste that pick? Trade it for some value. Are you on the side of keeping Justin Fields, or if you're in the best situation, are you drafting Caleb Williams first, or anybody else?
I think it would depend on the year, right? I mean, if it was an average QB class, I think it's a different conversation.
For sure.
But I mean, Caleb Williams is just one of the most touted quarterback prospects that's come into the league in a while, and I haven't seen enough. If I'm a Bears fan, I don't even I'm not the biggest Caleb Williams guy. I mean, I think personality leaves a lot to be desired. But if I was a Bears fan, I would have to imagine I want Caleb Williams. I can't imagine what it would be like not doing it, keeping Fields, and then watching Caleb Williams go somewhere else, and then
And ball out.
yeah, it'd be like, you're a Panthers fan and you're watching C.J. Stroud go bananas, right? I mean, that would drive you insane. I think you've got to take a shot with him. That's my take.
Is that where you are, Manny? I think.
Hell no. I think they'll be fucking delusional. I think
you
having a quarterback. I mean, first of all, bro. I mean, we just do the whole OC head coach thing. Dude, ball out this year. He actually, tail end of the season, he actually played great football. And I think if you
the team wants him and the fans want him.
I think it's something to be said about that. Like a guy you've built up in your city, watching him go through university that he's gone through. I think, me personally, if you let him go, he's going to go into an offense that's already established and ball the fuck out. I think you're in a situation where it's like you're going to be wrong either way. I feel like, you know what I mean? Because I think both guys are really good football players. Me personally, so I think no matter what they do, they're wrong. I think they should just go with who they've grown at home. Let's not restart again. Like, we don't want a Caleb Williams situation. Like, what if Caleb Williams ended up being Justin Fields for 2 years? Which isn't necessarily bad. It's just he's a young quarterback. So, like, I would just keep going with what I have.
But the counter argument I would have is, like, you look at all the teams that we just mentioned that are going to be good next year, and the common denominator across all of them is they've got great quarterbacks. And I mean, say what you want about Justin Fields, and I'm sure that we haven't seen anywhere near the best of Justin Fields. But there's a considerable gap between him and the elite quarterbacks that we've discussed. I mean, like, the gap between Justin Fields and Jordan Love is massive, in my opinion. Is absolutely massive. And I just think with him, there's a ceiling there. I mean, you need a lot more. Like, your defense has to be amazing. I think someone like Justin Fields, I think, can only take you so far. And sure, there's the risk in that Caleb Williams doesn't pan out, and you're kind of hitting the reset button for no reason. But at the same time, I mean, I think his ceiling is infinitely higher than Justin Fields. And again, you look at Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, and I know that's the gold standard that's not going to be able to be met by anybody else. But you need to have an elite quarterback to have a chance to do anything in this league. And I just don't know. Again, the situation hasn't been great. The team around him hasn't been good. The coaching staff sucks. There's a lot of things you could say to defend Justin Fields. And I don't think he's like, I'm not here to bash him. I just don't know that his ceiling is high enough to be able to contend against some of these teams that have truly elite quarterbacks. And, if someone like Caleb Williams can come in and change your franchise, I would have a hard time not taking a shot there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in agreement with the situation that he's been through and been in. Again, as a Giants fan, where multiple years it's always like, oh, do they trust Daniel Jones? Are you going to draft a quarterback? I've just learned to kind of train my brain to say, do not waste another top 10, top 5 pick on a quarterback when you have one, you got to make it work. Don't draft a lineman, draft a fucking playmaker. That's one of the biggest reasons why I'm saying that for Fields.
I see the way they receive that kid, man. To go through what he's going through those 3 years, to have everyone on the outside been like, I don't know if it's gonna work, and then everyone inside the building is like, wait, what? Like, every time I like touch Justin, get next to him, like, well, this is my guy. Like, I think when you talk about ceilings, like, I don't really see. I think he could be Jalen Hurts X. I think he could 100% be that. The arm talent wise, he has more arm talent than Hurts. Then he arguably is a better athlete.
I was just gonna say athleticism.
If he gets a head coach and an OC that he could put together with mentally and really developing the game mentally, I think they could be similar players. And if you build a good team around that, I think you can win every single time. I think they should take a chance and build around Fields.
But the team needs so much other work. It's like, like Jalen Hurts has had the benefit.
That's what I'm saying. Though. So why do we grab Caleb Williams and go through struggle if we need a bunch of work? Like, we're putting Caleb Williams in the same fucked up situation as we put Justin Fields in.
100%.
But we have capital.
Like the Bryce Young debate too.
We have capital to make it better.
Bryce Young got put in a bad area too, in a bad spot.
I would say in a different year, I think it's a different conversation, right? I mean, if the Bears are if the Bears are in this exact situation, but it's last year, I don't think they're debating shipping Fields to draft Bryce Young. Like, I think it's just the franchise changing potential upside with somebody like Caleb Williams. I mean, he just comes in at with I think much higher possibilities. And again, it's a quarterback driven league, and I don't know, man. Like, again, I'm glad I'm not a Bears fan because it's definitely a tougher spot. But again, you've made the point, dude, for like a team like Atlanta. Like, Atlanta is. If Atlanta had Brock Purdy at quarterback this year, I think they have a chance to make a run through the NFC. I mean, that roster is just loaded. The defense is so unbelievably underrated, and Like Ritter single-handedly lost them like 4 or 5 games.
Oh my God,
like, truly like. I think if they had like. I think I made the joke when I was in the show with you guys last time. Like if Baker Mayfield was the quarterback of the Falcons this year, I think they have a chance of getting to like the NFC Championship. I mean,
it feels like that Drew Brees situation where Drew Brees got let go of San Diego, and like they still get their franchise guy, and Drew Brees goes on to be another franchise guy. Like it literally feels like that kind of situation. It's like, what do you really do?
And they get rid of Arthur Smith too, so possibly Falcons look to take a quarterback, and you get a new coach, take a shot at the division, get a playoff game. Maybe the ATL is back as we close out the NFL season. Want to thank you so much, dude.
Thanks.
Like for this season,
Thanks.
it means so much to us for you being here all this year, almost the entirety of this year. Hopefully all the stuff comes out with the news that you told us with the Discord and all that kind of stuff. Obviously want to get you back on like a draft show and that kind of stuff. And, again, we're passing through the winter months as we get towards, golf season. Like really want to get you out on some tea parties this summer as we started to finally figure out the best
I gotta
way to
get
go
in the
about
lab, man. I'm slacking.
We got to get to the simulator. Maybe we'll check out 5-iron golf, get my back loose again, start swinging some clubs. But as we wrap up the NFL season, like just a huge amount of appreciation and gratitude for what you've done for us, and this show. You've been listening and watching the All Day Everyday Show with All Day AJ and Manny Ruffin. Our Monday guy is no longer as the NFL season has concluded. Thank you so much, Kenny. We will see you for NBA and NHL. We're coming.
and golf.
And golf. Don't fucking
golf.
forget about it.
And
Nikki
golf.
Taylor, what's up, baby?
Yo, I did say I was going to get a Canada tat if he won, so I might have to do it.
That's actually fire.